What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Cottonwood Cove. Let's fish that. Alright guys, so I'm out here today at Floyd Lamb Park. Cottonwood Cove Pond is one of the 4 ponds they have here at Floyd Lamb Park. Contrary to what people believe, all 4 ponds actually contain fish. Obviously the big one at the top, Full Springs, that one gets stocked quite regularly with stuff like trout, catfish, sometimes bluegill. They have carp, they have green sunfish, stuff like that. The pond just below that, the small one, that is willow, desert willow or something like that pond. That one has bass in it. I've seen some catfish in it as well, and I also saw people catching some green sunfish in that one. The bottom one, Mulberry Lake, that one has again carp. They do have some bass in there, some bluegill, catfish, and some green sunfish as well. I'm at the 4th little pond. This one, I do know that it has bass in it. I've caught bass in this one before. Also know that it has catfish in it. I've seen some catfish around. Particularly there's one albino catfish in here. That's quite easy to see when he's swimming around. Other than that, I'm not quite sure what fish are in this little pond. However, I know there is one particular fish in this pond that's not supposed to be in this pond. And that is why I'm here today. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys straight off what that particular fish is. I first want to see if I can catch it and show it to you guys. If not, at the end of the video, I will show you some photos and show you guys what fish it is. Now, like I said, this fish is not supposed to be in here. This was a pet someone released. It's been caught, as far as I know, 3 times before. Each time they released it again. I want to see if I can perhaps catch this fish as well. I will also release it if I do catch it to give someone else a try as well. There's only one of them in here as far as I know, so it's not a breeding population. No risk of them taking over the pond. It's going to be quite a struggle to catch this fish. I am aware that my chances of catching it is quite small, particularly because the water is still pretty cold. The other reason being that because it's been caught before, it's quite wary of lures and stuff like that, but I'm still going to attempt. I'm basically going to throw each and every lure I have in my box. I'm going to throw in this pond, going all around to try and see if I can find this fish and find something that it will go for. Now, the chances of catching fish is probably 50-50. I mean, you have bass in here. They might also go for some of the lures. But catching the one specific fish that I want to catch, that might be the challenge for today. Alright guys, step number 1 is going to be to see the temperature of the water. I have my little thermometer here in the water. Let's quickly see. Alright, so we are roughly about 56, 57. At 55, it's a good temperature for the bass to start getting more active. However, the closer you get to 60, the better your chances of getting some bass. So because we're a bit above 55, we actually do stand a chance of getting some fish, but they won't be super active yet. I just moved over from that side to this side for 2 simple reasons. Firstly, with the sun behind me, I reduced the chance for those little sun spots on my little camera. And secondly, this is the wind-blown bank. The wind is coming from that side, blowing this way. And some more experienced fishermen says that you always should start on the wind-blown side. For some reason, that's where the fish start. Alright, so for today, I'm going to be quite active casting around, covering lots of space and areas of different lures to try and find my targeted species of fish. So for that reason, I didn't bring any baits or anything like that. But this little spot actually with the little waterfall thing flowing in, it's quite a strong flow that actually presents me with an opportunity to use a second rod. I'm going to use a little drop shot rig with a little power bait minnow on there. The idea being in the stream, the stream is strong enough to actually pick up the little fish and it swims around rather than sinking to the bottom. It will flutter in the air. If there's any fish passing by, they might want to try this little fish as a snack, and then we'll hopefully get something on that. But that's going to be a little side project. What I am going to focus on is getting all sorts of lures and covering lots of water. Alright, so I have my little drop shot there in the stream with the little thing fluttering around and a little bell at the top, so that if something happens, I will be aware of that. Okay, so I'm starting off with a little lipless crank, the idea being that I can cover lots of water quickly and also see if there's any trees or submerged structure anywhere and get an idea of where I can cast and where to cast different lures. I'm using my braid setup today, reason being braid kind of floats. I want to try and keep my lures off the bottom because I do know there are lots of trees and stuff in the water, lots of places to get snagged. On my little braid I have 12-pound fluorocarbon leader, just to make sure that the fish don't actually see the braid and the lure is presented in a better way. Okay guys, so I don't think you will be able to see it on the little camera, but right here in front there's an entire tree submerged. There were 4 trees here, one of them fell over into the water, so we have a tree here in the water. That's actually a good place for some fish to try and hide or ambush different fish. It's also a pretty good place to get snagged. So the fish that I'm looking for is actually known to be quite aggressive. It goes for anything that moves in the water type of thing. Therefore I'm starting off with some crazy bold lures first and making my way back down to the more normal looking type of things, more prey looking type of lures. So I'm going to start off with these crazy little things to see if we can perhaps find that fish. Of course, the other advantage of throwing each and every lure I own is I get to throw some lures that I've actually never thrown before. This little guy, for instance, is a new lure that I have never had the opportunity of throwing around. White and red is normally a good thing to have when doing some ocean fishing, but it's cool to see how these things work and how they dive. Alright guys, I now spend a couple hours throwing all sorts of little lures into this pond, pretty much using all these lures that I have here in my box. Haven't seen a fish, yet alone catch one. I think the waters are still too cold at this moment for any action from stuff like bass. And the little fish that I was targeting here today, they prefer warm water. They're a lot more active during summer months, so I don't think I'm going to be able to catch that fish here today. So I can either stand here and throw these lures around some more and kind of waste my time, or I can change to a different setup, different style of fishing, and see if I can actually manage to catch some fish today, perhaps moving to some of the other ponds. Now before I can do that, I first need to show you guys what fish it was that I was actually targeting here today, as I did say I would. Quite hesitant to do so because I know that when summer comes there's going to be a lot of people around trying to catch this fish in this pond, but I did promise you guys that I will tell you what fish it is that I was looking for in this pond. Now the little fish I was looking for is called a silver arowana. It is a more of a tropical type of fish. Like I said, it prefers the warmer waters, does eat little frogs and stuff on top of the water. That's why I said if you can see it moving around, throwing a little top water, it might help. It also does go for bait fish. That's why I've been throwing around all sorts of lures to see if I can get this fish to commit to anything. Couldn't find that fish, couldn't find any bass. So I think I'm going to change my setup, perhaps go to some of the other ponds and see if I can manage to catch any fish for today. Alright guys, had fun here today. Had a couple of casts in all of the ponds. Didn't manage to catch any fish. I did however have 3 good takes on the little trout magnet from some trout, but I wasn't able to land any of them. Some of the other people around, they were catching the trout on power bait. Seeing how I only had little lures here and none of my power baits, I couldn't try and get a trout of my own. However, it's not all bad. Testing a couple of different lures, seeing how they work. Didn't manage to get any fish for you guys, unfortunately, in this video. But as you can probably see behind me at the moment, it's like someone opened some floodgates somewhere. The entire park is overrun with people. I no longer feel safe out here. Way too many people around. So I think the best thing would be to pack up and rather head home. So thank you guys for watching. Feel free to leave any comments down below. Remember to give this video a little thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.